Now we're gonna learn more about variables. I told you variable is used to store the value. This is the basic syntax of variable. You will start with var, let, or const. Const is used to define the constant. You cannot change the value. If you define the variable with let, you can change the value. Identify the name of the variable. You will specify the type, and it should be here we should display the value. If you only want to declare the value, you don't want to set the value here. Let's try to define some variables. But in JavaScript, you specify the variables with var, but we don't recommend to declare the variable with var. That's why we used let here. You can change the value with let. Let's say I can change the value with let. I declared the string variable. You can also specify the type of the variable, otherwise you will see this type of fruit is string. You will see the string. You can also specify the type here. You can also declare a variable. Let's say that if you only want to declare the variable, you can do that. Let's say I would like to declare the sample, and I want to use the type of the sample is string. Sample is equals to hello world, something like that. Sample. So this is how you will declare the variable. You can add some number. So let's talk more about some types in Typescript. You can define string, number. You can also define the array. Const list. I'm gonna define the numbers array, or you can say that numbers array. Here I'm gonna specialize the value of the number. Let's log the list. Similarly, you can create the list with strings, booleans, objects. You can do that. You can also define the type in this way. You can use the generic, but it depends on you. Let's learn more about the tuple. I don't know how to pronounce tuple. Declare a tuple type that x is equals to number and string. What will happen? The type should be number and string. So here you will initialize the x. First is number or id, or you can say that hello. Let's try to log the tuple value. Now you will see the value, which is 0 and the hello. Let's try to define the enums here. Enum. If you want to define the constant in Typescript, you can use the enum. Let's say that enum actions, action types. You can say that action types. You can also specify the value of this enum. Let's say get products, and you can say that get products, the value should be get products loaded, something like that. Let's create product, or you can use that value create product, create it. This is how you will create the enum. When you define the constant value, then you can use the enum. Let's say action is equals to say id payload some value, and type should be action dot types dot get products, and I can log the action value. This is how the enums works. Yeah, there is also another type which is unknown. We may need to describe the type of the variables that we don't know when we are writing an application. These values may come from the dynamic content, or we want to intentionally accept that all values in our API. Then you can use the unknown. Let's say that not source unknown, they have specified the value 4, not sure, and they have specified or added the value which is string, and now they have used this value. Not sure, not sure. Unknown type. I already explained you the any type. I don't need to do that again. Void is a little like the opposite of any, the absence of having any type at all. You can may commonly use this return type of the function. We'll talk more about the functions in later videos. Say I'm gonna define the function. It is not going to return anything, so that's why I'm gonna use the void. Hello world. So this is how you will call this function, and you will see the hello world. Null and undefined are these two separate data types in Typescript. Undefined and null. By default, null and undefined subtypes of all other type. That means you can assign null and undefined to something like number. You can do that. This is how the undefined and the null works. Let's value is equals to undefined. Undefined. You can set the value to 5. Now you can log the value which is 5. Similarly, you can do with null. Result is equals to, I'm gonna set the value object. You can log the result. So you will see the values. The never type represent the type of values that occur never. For instance, the never is the return type of for a function expression or an arrow function expression that always throws an exception, or one that never returns. Yep. Error handler will not return anything, so that's why you can use the never type here. Let's say that error something went wrong. It is not going to return anything from this function. That's why we use the never type, and you will see the error message. Something went wrong. Something went wrong with this one. So object is a type that represents the non-primitive type. Anything that is not number, string, boolean, big integer, symbol, you can, or undefined, you can represent it as an object. So let's say that let employee, the type is object. So you can set the value, or you can do it here, initialize the object. You can change the value. Let's try to log it employee. Now you can see the value here.